Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps, and good morning, everyone. Buong Pilipinas, good morning. At welcome po sa ating weekly economic press briefing, co-hosted by the Economic Development Cluster and the PCOO. Sa ilalim ng 0 to 10-point socio-economic agenda ng Duterte administration, lumagpas na sa 5% ng GDP ang infrastructure spending ng bansa sa pamamagitan ng Build, Build, Build program. Inaasahan naman na aabot ito sa 7% ng GDP by 2022. So for 50 years before the Duterte administration, the average was only half of these levels. Layunin din ng Build, Build, Build program na makapaghatid ng pangmatagalang ginhawa sa ilang dekadang pagkukulang sa infrastruktura. Ang pagtugon sa infrastructure gap ay siya ring magtutulay sa ating bansa tungo sa ating mithiin sa ilalim ng ambisyon natin 2040 na makamit ang high-income country status sa loob lamang ng isang henerasyon. Ang mga malalaking infrastructure flagship projects ay bahagi lamang ng mas malawak na Build, Build, Build program with more than 10,000 smaller infrastructure projects that are improving lives in our provinces and the countryside. Sa tulong ng kita mula sa train law at iba pang improvements sa pamamalakad ng ekonomiya, lumaki ang fiscal space ng pamahalaan para ipagpatuloy at mas paigtingin ang Build, Build, Build program. Ngayong umaga ay makakasama natin si BCDA President and CEO Vince Dizon na siya ding itinalagad bilang Presidential Advisor for Flagship Programs and Projects upang ibahagi ang ilang mahalagang update at kasalukuyang status ng ating mga infrastructure flagship projects.
Magandang hapon po. Good afternoon sa kanilang lahat. Unang-una po, gusto ko lang i-echo yung sinabi ni Yusek Lorraine just a few minutes ago and ni Secretary and Presidential Spokesperson Salvador Panelo yesterday. While we respect the views of our partners in government, our other officials of government, we have to disagree with the statements that have come out in the media in the past weeks and yesterday that Build, Build, Build is being claimed not to be effective. So right off the bat, I'm here to tell you that Build, Build, Build is not as what was said yesterday, a failure. Now, I will be showing you in a little while facts that will support that. And I will clarify many of the issues that were raised not only in the Senate yesterday, but also in other fora in the past several weeks. And I will also explain to the public the reason why we are now in the process of revising and reviewing the list of what we call flagship projects. So let me begin by stating the first fact, that under the Duterte administration, we are projecting GDP growth, ang pag-unlad ng buong ekonomiya ng Pilipinas between 7 to 7.5%. May iba pang nagsasabi hanggang 8% by 2022. This is the fastest growth rate that the country has or will be experiencing by the time the president ends his term in 2022. And this is not just being projected by our own government agencies, but is also being projected by various international agencies such as the World Bank, such as the Asian Development Bank, and other very credible multilateral organizations. Now, where is that GDP growth coming from? Mostly. Next slide, please. It is mostly coming from government spending. Because over the past several years under the Duterte administration, from 2016 up to 2018, the government has been spending more than any other government in recent memory. No? So ang nagpapabilis ng pag-unlad ng ating ekonomiya ay malaki ang pinanggagalingan nun dahil sa paggastos ng gobyerno. Okay? Fact po yan. No? Next slide, please. And a lot of that growth in the economy is also due to massive growth in the construction industry, in the construction sector. From 2016 to 2018, the construction sector has been growing by double digits, no, by above 12%, close to 13%. I think in 2017, it even grew above 15%. No, or in 2018, I'm sorry, it grew by above 15%. So what does this tell us? It tells us that there is a lot of activity in construction, and in particular, there is a lot of activity in public sector construction, meaning in government construction or government projects, which, if you recall, about 3 years ago when we launched Build, 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 which was the main goal of the president when he launched Build, Build, Build through his economic team, was to pump prime the economy through massive investments in infrastructure spending by the government. And next slide, please. We see that very clearly, as Yusek Lorraine correctly pointed out. If we look at the past 4 administrations, the Ramos, Estrada, Arroyo, and Pinoy administrations, the Duterte administration in its first 3 years in office has been spending double or more than double on the average what previous governments have been spending on infrastructure. Take note, this is actual spending. This is not planned spending, but this is actual. Yan yung dinisburse, yan yung ginastos. No? Galing yan sa ating DBM. Okay. And if we look at absolute figures, in the first 3 years of the, just in 2017 to 2018, or that's probably 2016 to 2018, the Duterte administration has already spent almost 1 trillion pesos. Spent, not planned to spend, but actually spent 1 trillion pesos in infrastructure compared to 380 billion in the Aquino administration, 100 billion in the Arroyo administration, and so forth. No? So these are all facts coming from our government agencies, which show that when the president launched Build, Build, Build through the economic team way back in late 2016, the plan to spend more for infrastructure has been happening. And as they say, numbers do not lie. Hindi ba? These are actual figures. Now, if some of you will ask us right now and ask the president, masaya ba kami? Masaya ba si presidente? Masaya ba ang economic team dito sa mga numerong ito? Maniwala kayo, ang sagot namin, hindi pa rin kami masaya. Bakit? Kasi marami pa rin kulang, marami pa rin kailangang i-build, marami pa rin kailangang gawin para maibsan natin ang pang-araw-araw na hirap na dinadanas ng ating mga kababayan. Bakit natin dinadanas yung mga paghihirap na to? Dahil, makikita nyo naman yung mga figures, dahil nung nakaraang mga administrasyon at nakaraang mga taon, kulang na kulang ang ininvest at ginastos ng mga nakaraang pamahalaan sa infrastructure. No? And kaya nga ngayon, sabi nga ni Secretary Tugade, we are at least 20 years behind. 20 years, 2 decades behind. So kailangan tayong maghabol. We have to play catch up. So if you ask us, are we happy with the results? They're okay, but we're not happy. And that leads me now to why we are looking at and revisiting the initial flagship projects list. Because what we wanted to do was look at the list, revisit it. Why? Because it's the halfway term of the president. And we want to be able to do more, and we want to be able to fast track and even speed up the infrastructure program in the second half of the term of the president. And we wanted to rationalize, no? Because, infrastructure projects are not easy to do. They require a lot of planning. They require long and very tedious feasibility studies, detailed planning, and it takes time. No, these don't just an airport or seaport or a train. Hindi yan parang mushroom na kabuti na ano na lang, no? Na umuusbong na lang, no? Matagal na proseso yan. And we wanted to look at the projects that are most urgent, to address the most urgent needs of our people, covering the entire country as much as possible, and at the same time, projects that even if they will be completed after the term of the president, we must begin now. So that was the goal, no? Because there is one word that is very important to the president, and that, unfortunately, we lacked in the past. And that word is continuity. Now, we all know the stories. New administration comes in, projects get canceled, projects get discontinued, projects get scrapped. Hindi ba? And in some cases, for political reasons. No? I think it is only President Duterte that has not done that. No, he really set aside politics and just genuinely looked at what will be good for the majority of our people. And that is what we are trying to do. So, just to give you and to clarify some issues. No? Next slide, please. We have already completed several projects. Build is an 8 trillion, estimated 8 trillion program that covers thousands of projects. You can ask DPWH Secretary Mark Villar and Secretary Art Tugade, who are the prime agencies involved in Build, and they will tell you there are thousands of roads, highways, bridges, seaports, airports, ngayon, mga riles na papasok, ang dami niyan. But we need to have a list of what we call flagship projects. By the way, we didn't invent this, no? The flagship program was invented, set up, I think the first one was during the time of President Ramos. And what we're trying to do now is we are revitalizing that in order to give the government a way to prioritize and a way to focus its energies on the biggest and most urgent and game-changing projects. So, what we have completed thus far, and these are just examples, and there are a lot more. No? I'll leave it up to DPWH Secretary Villar and Secretary Tugade of the OTR to give you more details. But just to give you a glimpse of completed, ito, tapos na to, ha? Tapos na to. For example, the NLEX Harbor Link Segment 10. This is the elevated highway connecting NLEX all the way to R10, no, to the port area. That's why now, and I live in Central Luzon. That's why now, if for those of us who live in Central Luzon, we notice that there is less traffic in Balintawak. Why? Because there are less trucks in Balintawak. Dati, lahat ng truck dumadaan sa Balintawak. Papasok ng EDSA, papasok ng A. Bonifacio, papuntang Pier. Ngayon, wala nang dumadaan na truck doon. Bakit? Dahil sa NLEX Harbor Link na inaugurate na ni Secretary Villar at ni Presidente several months ago. Nung previous administration, walang nangyari dito. Hindi to gumalaw. No? Nagsimula lang to early on during the term of President Duterte. And now, it is completed. Completed yan. I mean, dumadaan ako dyan. And I can tell you for myself that I've passed that road and it's completed. But that's only one segment. That's just segment 10. That will continue, and the plan is to actually extend this all the way to Anda Circle in Ross Boulevard, where near Manila Hotel is, near Intramuros. No, so that is part of the extension of that is part of the flagship projects. But that is already completed. Next. Governor Miranda Bridge in Davao del Norte, completed, inaugurated by President Duterte in May of 2017. Next slide. Laguna Lake Highway. If you talk to the people in Taguig and Rizal and Laguna, this was a project that practically did not move in previous administrations. But Secretary Villar, with the help of the local government units, the provinces of Rizal and Laguna, completed this project in April of 2019. I think they started construction here early 2017 or late 2016. Now it's completed. May bike lane pa yan. It's the first highway with a bike lane. It was inaugurated already by Secretary Villar and the economic team. Si Senator Pia Cayetano nagbike pa dyan. No? Tapos na ganyan. Completed na yan. Next. Pigalo Bridge. No? This is in Isabela. No? Also completed already. Next. TPLEX Posorubio. Again, I just want to already say this. TPLEX was started way back in previous administrations. But under this administration, we completed the Posorubio exit. The Posorubio interchange. That is one stop before Baguio, before the entrance to Cannon Road. Now we are building the Rosario, and then we're going to extend that all the way to San Fernando, La Union. No? And that is also part of the flagship project. By the way, all of these are no longer in the list of 100 because they're already completed. Next. Bohol Panglao International Airport. According to Secretary Tugade, when the Duterte administration took over and Secretary Tugade took over as DOTR, there was nothing on that site. There was nothing in the Bohol Panglao site. This was started, I think, GMA time pa ito. No, but there was nothing there. I think there was just dirt. And then it was started, and in late 2018, it was inaugurated. And now there are new flights coming in and out of Bohol International Airport. And this was built with the help of the Japanese government through JICA. Again, also completed during this term in 2018. What is now in the flagship list is the operations and maintenance of this, which under the hybrid PPP scheme of the Duterte government, it is among the more than 20 plus PPP projects that is in the new flagship list. By the way, that's also one of the reasons why we revisited the flagship list, because we added several PPP projects to that list. So this was just approved by the NEDA ICC last week, and it is already at the advanced stages of government approval, the O&M of this airport. Next slide, please. The Cagayan de Oro Passenger Terminal, completed by DOTR in just last July of 2019. No? Completed na yan. Started during the Duterte administration, completed already now. Next. The Cavite Gateway Terminal, also completed under a PPP scheme, no, through the assistance of DOTR, and I think this is a project with ICTSI. No, why was this important? Because instead of the trucks going along our roads on trucks from the harbor in Manila to Cavite, now they can go by barge. They don't have to go on our roads. That's less trucks on our roads, less traffic, less congestion, less pollution. Again, inaugurated in July of 2018. Also completed. Next. The CNS ATM system. This is a IT infrastructure for radar systems that has greatly resulted in efficiency in all our airports. This was a project, and I remember this. This was a project that dates back, I think, to the time of President GMA. It was not implemented, and now fully implemented under the term of the president. Why is this important, even if this is not a hard infrastructure? Because with this new system, our air traffic controllers can have aircraft land and take off from our airports more efficiently. What does that mean? It means less waiting time in our airports. I'm sure you still recall the days in the past years where we would wait so long for planes to take off and land, where, planes would hover above NAIA for like 30 minutes, 1 hour. But now that has been greatly eased because of CNS ATM. So also completed. Sorry, I'm going to speed this up so we'll have more questions. Next. Of course, New Clark City Phase 1A is completed, and we're inaugurating it. The president is inaugurating it this November. And the SEA Games facility, some of you have probably seen it, and it's done. Completed already in 18 months. All of that completed. Minsan nga napagkakamaga na drawing yan, pero maniwala po kayo sa akin, totoo po yan. Hindi po yan drawing. Next slide, please. Okay. So, I want to put all of this on record. Out of the 100 flagship projects in the list that we will be submitting to the Senate today, there are 35 ongoing projects in the list of 100. There are 32 projects that will be commencing construction in the next 6 to 8 months, meaning these have already gone through the rigors of government approval, etc. 21 are in the advanced stages of government approval, meaning they have either been approved already at the ICC level and just require another step or already advanced. And then 12 out of the 100 are in advanced stages of feasibility study. One of the reasons why we revisited the list of 75 is because, as Secretary Pernia and Secretary Villar pointed out, there were some projects in that list that after the feasibility studies, they were found out to be not yet feasible now. They may be feasible in the future, but not yet now. Because as you very well know, especially for those of you who've covered government for a long time, NEDA requires a threshold economic rate of return. Meaning, if a project does not have an economic rate of return of 10% or higher, we won't implement it. Why? Because we don't want to build white elephants. No, we don't want to build something that is not yet feasible as of this time. They could be feasible later on, but not yet as of this time. So we had to revisit and put in projects that are urgent but are already that we can already start now. This includes several PPP projects. Next slide, please. Now, in the list of 100, this is our estimation. Give or take. Give or take. This is what we believe we can achieve. 38 out of the 100 completed by the end of the president's term. 38 out of the 100, roughly 40%. 22 out of the 100 partially operational or substantially completed. Ibig sabihin, kung kalye yan, at 4 lanes yan, may 2 lanes ka na. Madadaanan mo na. Kung tren yan, hindi pa tapos lahat ng stasyon, pero may mga stasyon na tapos na, pwede nang gamitin. Yun ang po ang ibig sabihin ng partially operational or substantially completed. And 40 to be completed beyond 2022. But all, and dapat gakihan natin yon, pero all kailangan maumpisahan. That is the goal. Why is that the goal? Because the goal of build. First of all, I just want to, and this will be my final, build never promised that we would complete all these infrastructure projects in 5 or 6 years. That's impossible. Impossible yun. Nobody promised that. But what we promise is, number one, we will start. Believe me, there have been projects collecting dust in government agencies that have taken decades to start. Just to start, decades. So the most important step is to start. So our commitment, and thank you to the operator, all will be started. Ay, sorry po, ma'am. 38 completed, 22 partially operational, substantially completed, 40 will most likely be completed beyond 2022. That is our honest assessment. That is our honest to goodness estimation of these flagship projects based on the estimates of the implementing agencies. So with that, I think that's the last slide. And we just, while we do the Q&A, we just want to maybe show you a lot of some video and some pictures of completed projects and ongoing projects that some of them that are already underway now. So finally, I just want to emphasize the point. Is build a failure? Absolutely not. And the numbers speak for themselves. No, construction is up, public spending on infrastructure is up, and this has led to faster economic growth. Are we happy with the progress? We could do better, and we admit that. I think the president's the only leader who actually says, you know, that's nice, but we want to do better. No, and why do we want to do better? Because the difficulty, the hardship that our people endure every day can't wait. We have to do this quickly. But it's not easy. It's very challenging. But we are committed to getting all of these started, completing as many as we can, and substantially completing a significant number of these projects so that we will be building enough momentum for the next administrations to hopefully continue all of these things for the benefit of everyone. Tabi na muna natin ang politika, tabi na muna natin ang personal na interest, kung ano yung makakabuti sa kababayan natin, ituloy natin. So that is our commitment to the Filipino people and to everybody. So thank you very much, and I'm now ready for any questions.
Maraming salamat, Sir Vince. Let's now take questions from MPC Maricel. Drayo, please.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir, just a quick clarification. Because, sir, yesterday, Senator Drilon mentioned na 9 out of 75 flagship projects, yung ongoing yung construction. So I just would like to clarify kasi mukhang iba yung figures natin. So paano natin pagpapangkat?
So, that was in the initial report of NEDA, I think several months ago. But like I said, very recently, the President has asked the entire economic team to revisit the list. And to look at the projects that we cannot even start because they don't meet the threshold of NEDA for us to start them or build them now, and also to look at other projects that are urgently needed, including a lot of the PPPs. Remember in the previous list, halos walang PPP doon, if I'm not mistaken. No, so this is why we are writing the Senate, and we want to thank the Senate, Senator Gon, Senator Lacson, and the other senators for pointing this out, because this is a partnership. No, the Senate and Congress is there to look at and to exercise oversight over the executive, and this is part of the way our government works, and we welcome this. No, but now what we are saying is there is a revised list, and out of the revised list, this is the status.
So it's not updated anymore, yung hawak na figures.
No.
Okay.
So we are updating it today. In fact, we are writing the Senate. We are sending an official letter today, and with that letter will come the revised list.
So sir, in terms of percentage, ilan na doon sa 100 flagship projects yung ongoing na yung construction?
Maybe we can put up the slide. I showed it earlier,
Okay.
but we can put it up again.
Sige, we'll just have the
No,
figures
it's okay.
later. Sir.
It's good to always, recall and refresh. No, so 38 ongoing.
Okay.
38 out of the 100 ongoing. 35 ongoing. Sorry, 32 to commence construction in 6 to 8 months. 21 in the advanced stages of government approval, NEDA, etc. 12 in the advanced stages of feasibility study. So
Alright.
this is the breakdown. And I hope the math is right, and that should total 100.
Sir, si Representative Salceda is saying that he's planning to file a bill seeking to give the President an emergency power to fast-track yung implementation ng build. So what do you think about this, sir?
The President, I think within the first few weeks or first month or so of his government, actually asked for that. I think it was his first SONA that he asked emergency powers to deal with the problems that we are facing with respect to infrastructure, which leads to these daily problems of traffic and congestion. However, Congress has not acted on it. No, and I think right now it is the position of the executive and the president himself has said it na parang medyo late na rin. So we'll do with what we have. But of course, any efforts on the part of Congress to assist the government through is very, very welcome. No, and Congressman Salceda is one of the best minds in Congress now, and if he feels that this is necessary and this can be passed in Congress, then I'm sure the executive will welcome it. But right now, I think both the president and Secretary Tugade are not really asking for it anymore. I think that's the position of government.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Marcel. Henry's next. After Henry, Joseph, pagkatapos Pia, Julian, and Bernadette.
Sir, obviously may comparative between the previous and the present administration. My first question, ano ang mukha ng infrastruktura na pinanggalingan ng kasalukuyang administrasyon? I'm talking about the previous administration. Ilan yung mga nakatenga na hindi natapos? Ano yung mga nasimula? Kayo ang nagtuloy.
If I may borrow the term, dismal. The state of infrastructure when the president took over was dismal. We easily forget. MRT, airports, lack of seaports. It doesn't really take statistics to know that. Alam naman natin lahat yun eh. Di ba? We go through it every day, whether you're rich, poor, young, old, babae, lalaki, it doesn't matter. Kahit na dismal talaga. And ang state ng infrastructure natin hanggang ngayon ay dismal pa rin. Totoo yun. There's no debate. That's why we all have to come together and work on this. There's no choice. These things are not going to sprout like mushrooms by themselves. We've got to do it. We've got to get these projects off the ground, and we really want to work with everybody, especially our legislators, our senators, our congressmen, our governors, our local government executives. We want to work with everyone. Infrastructure should be, build, should be the modern call for bayanihan. Kasi we all know that the state of infrastructure in the Philippines is dismal, especially if we compare it to our neighboring countries. No, and it's not going to be 6 years. It's not going to be enough. Not going to be enough. It's got to be continued. That's why momentum is key. That's why, by the way, I failed to mention this. This list of 100, by the way, is an evolving list. Hindi yan nga. Pag merong bagong, let's say, unsolicited proposal from the private sector na maganda at makakabuti sa ating mga kababayan at sisiguraduhin natin na hindi naman agrabyado ang gobyerno, then dadagdag natin yun. No?
Pero sa nakalipas na 3 taon ng administrasyon, ilan ang tulay, ilang airport, ilang mga infrastructure flagship program ang pwedeng sabihin na
Natapos na.
ito ay Duterte administration ang nakapagpatapos?
Alam mo, una, Henry, kanina nagbigay ako ng mga example ng mga natapos na. No, natapos na yung Bohol Panglao Airport, natapos na yung Harbor Link, natapos na ang Laguna Lake Expressway, yung Pigalo Bridge. Mga examples lang yan. Marami pang ibang natapos. No? At ang makakapagsabi sa atin ng detalyeng yan, napakarami kasi, Henry, no? Ang ating mga primary implementing agencies, ang DOTR at DPWH. According to DPWH, I think they came out with a press release just today, 9,000 ba kilometers of new road has been built since the Duterte administration took over. 9,000 kilometers. I mean, I can't even imagine 9,000 kilometers. No? So, pero alam mo, I just wanna, gusto ko lang balikan yung tanong mo. No? Para sa administrasyong Duterte at lalo na sa presidente, hindi kasi importante yung credit eh. Hindi importante yung sino ba nagsimula nito, sino bang nakatapos nito, hindi importante yun eh. Ang importante is masimulan, matuloy, at matapos. Kasi yun eh, lalo na yung matapos. Kasi ang dami nang nasimulan, ang dami nang natuloy. Ang problema, marami ding natenga, maraming hindi natuloy, maraming kinansila, dahil sa iba't ibang rason. At ano nangyari? Sino ang kawawa? Tayo kawawa. Kawawa ang taong bayan. Diba? So, hindi po sa amin importante yung yung sino nag-umpisa nito, sinong ganon. Ang importante, gawin na natin. Diba? Finally, diba, meron tayong Pangulo na napakatapang, napaka-strong-willed, na ang sinasabi niya, tabi nyo na lahat yung politikang yan. Diba? Gawin lang natin, simulan natin. Kung matapos ngayon, the best. Diba? Ang galing. Diba? Kasi yun ang importante, matapos eh. Ngayon, kung matapos sa susunod na administrasyon, iba ang mag-inaugurate, the best pa yan. Diba? It doesn't matter. What matters is, we build the momentum because that's what we need. And you know, ang hirap kasi nung ilang beses ko na kasi narinig eh. Hindi naman kayo nag-start niyan eh. In the first place, the Duterte government never claimed to have started a project that it did not start. Never. Never. We just said, in fact, halos lahat nga ng proyekto, in fact, I think lahat ng proyekto ng mga previous governments, tinuloy eh. As far as I know, I could be wrong, but as far as I know, walang hindi tinuloy. Lahat tinuloy. And does it really matter if this government or this administration or that administration started it? It shouldn't, hindi ba? Di ba? It's the government of the Republic of the Philippines. I mean, I think we should stop branding governments as Aquino government, Ramos government, Estrada government. Kasi I think that's where the problem now of continuity comes in. Because if we're all focused on what this administration started or what this one, then it gets into our mentality that if I didn't start it, it's not a priority. If I didn't start it, it's not important. Hindi dapat ganun. So I think that is where the leadership of President Duterte is strongest. Because he really does not care about credit.
Right. Last question, sir. Magkano na po in total ang talagang ilabas ng Duterte administration sa infra, build project po ng gobyerno?
Our latest estimates, I think about a trillion already. No, I don't have the numbers for 2019, but I think we're talking about 1 trillion for the first 2 years, and then we're gonna look at maybe even more than that in 2019. But as you can see nga, alam mo yung sa sa economics, no, ang GDP natin, yung paglago ng ekonomiya, nanggagaling yan sa maraming mga sources eh. Yung investment, yung pribadong investment, yung pagkonsumo nating lahat, yung paggastos natin. Kapag marami tayong, pag lumalaki ang kita natin, gumagastos tayo ng mas malaki, tumataas ang GDP natin. Pero ang pangatlo na napaka-importante ay yung tinatawag nilang government expenditure. No, yung G, no, sa economics, if you recall your college macroeconomics. And as you can see from the data, maybe we can flash that again, government expenditure has been growing at a steady rate, and a huge part of that growth is coming from public infrastructure spending, which we can see compared to other previous administrations, we've more than doubled that already. So these are hard numbers. No, these are undebatable. No, this is actual expenditure. No, now are we happy with it? No, we're not. We want to be able to spend more. We want to be able to disburse faster. We want to be able to spend faster. No, while we've already achieved a lot, we're not contented. We're not satisfied. We want to do even more. That's why I think that 6% wants to go, is the goal is to bring that up to even 7 or 7.5% by 2022.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Joseph, mic please. Salamat.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, can we go back to 2016 when the
Yes.
Triple B projects have been proposed? How many projects do we have initially?
In the original NEDA list, that was I think 70. No. Sorry, the flagship list. Remember, no, there's some confusion kasi, Joseph, no. Build is composed of thousands of projects. It's total infrastructure, everything from a
Small
road
roads, so,
somewhere, bridge somewhere, etc.
Correct.
But out of that universe of projects, there are what they call flagship projects. So
The
these
big
are
ticket items, I mean.
sorry.
Big ticket
The
items.
big ticket, the game changing, whatever you want to call them, no? And these are obviously fewer than the universe, no? The initial flagship list was 75. There were some there that were still undergoing a lot of feasibility studies. In fact, I think a significant number of them were undergoing feasibility studies at the time. So after the midway point of the administration, the president and his economic team decided to say, hey, like any good executive, like any good manager said, hey, let's revisit. Let's look at the list. Let's look at these flagship projects. When the president asked me to assist in that, I got involved in looking at it with the other agencies, primarily the Department of Transportation, Department of Public Works, DOF, and NEDA, and also other agencies. Because remember, these aren't just transport projects. There are also projects for power. I mean, our trains and our airports have to run on electricity, so we need power. We also need water. We've already felt the looming problems of water, especially in cities like Metro Manila and Metro Cebu. We also desperately need to improve our ICT, so ICT is also there. And urban development. We have to try and develop new cities like New Clark City, and we also have to rebuild cities like Marawi, which was destroyed by the conflict 2 years ago. So it's really a process. Like I said, these lists are evolving. They're not stagnant. They're not cast in stone. So, for example, in that list, there are 12 that are in the advanced stages of feasibility study. If some of these projects are deemed not feasible, then we will have to shelve them for now and then look at other projects that we can do. So it's an evolving list of priorities.
All right. Let's break down the 75. 75 initial list. How many of this have been completed? Can we get the 38 from your earlier 35? from your
Joseph,
person?
sorry, I know, I'm supposed to answer a question here from you, but seriously, I'd rather not. Why? Because that's not the list anymore. Why are you asking me a list of 75 when the government's already telling you that the list is now 100 and that is the new list?
All right, let's go then to 100.
Yeah.
So yun yung breakdown mo, 35 yung
Yeah, can we just
completed.
pull that up? Yes.
Okay.
We will be providing the media with a whole list. Okay? We'll just submit it muna. Please allow us to just submit it first to our legislators.
All right. Hold on. I'd like to go back to the 75 because that's your starting point, okay?
No, that's not the starting
more.
point. No.
All right.
That's not the starting point. The starting point of build was all these infrastructure projects that needed to be built. NEDA identified 75 projects, okay? Of which a portion was, based on the studies, deemed infeasible. There were some that were completed, like I think there were 2, that were completed. No, I'm sure a lot of people in the media is going to spin that again, that the government only completed 2, even if I've already shown you that we've completed several. But that's fine. That's up to you. But my point is, why are you forcing me to talk about a list of 75 when the government is already telling you that this is a revised list? I'm not going to answer it. Joseph,
When was
I'm
the
sorry.
decision made by NEDA to maybe prioritize?
There was a NEDA ICC meeting last week, and the new list was approved last week.
Okay. So yung new list, what was the original and the new list? Ilang projects yun? Based on the assessment of the NEDA. Para yung figure mo na lang.
100.
100. And then meron kayong, do we call it shelf? Yung hindi prioritize.
Yes.
So 100, yung binigay
No,
niyo sa
wala na yung obviously, yung shelve, wala na dun sa 100. Shelve nga eh.
Alright, cool. So may we know those projects?
I will have to check. I think some of them are the bridges, inter-island bridges, that are just too expensive and difficult to build as of this time. No, which includes, I think, a bridge in Mindoro, a bridge in connecting Leyte and Bicol, if I'm not mistaken. No, there was a huge plan kasi, di ba, of DPWH. It's been a plan for so long to build and connect the entire archipelago with inter-island bridges. But, of course, you're talking about upwards of 50 kilometers across rough seas. No? And when the feasibility studies were done, they were either too expensive or the technology isn't there yet to really build them now. We're not saying that those bridges are never going to be built. But right now, government is better off using its resources, building other things that are feasible now and that are
So we can
urgent.
use the term suspended for the meantime. Those projects.
Yeah.
And how many of this?
If I'm not mistaken, at least... No, 30 were, I think... I'll get the number, Joseph. Sorry.
You don't have the number?
No, I don't have the exact number. I don't want to make a mistake.
And right now, ballpark first.
Ballpark, those that were shelved.
Yeah. You're using the word shelf na? Shelf.
Yeah,
Okay.
bakit? Masama ba yung word na shelved?
Baka mamaya ayaw yung term na yun.
Hindi, ginamit ko eh. So gusto ko.
Okay.
Okay. So, I'll give you an exact number later on.
Okay. And the reason is hindi sila parang walang masyadong ROI for some mga ganon.
Yeah, sige. Yeah, yes. Hindi pa siya feasible. Yung returns, no?
All right.
I
So
think
in
I've
terms
said
of
that like
history lang, ng
5
number
times,
in terms of history lang ng number of projects, no? We started with 75, biglang nadamihan, naging 100 plus the shelf ones, right?
Yes.
So your BBB, triple B projects grew from 75 to 100
Again,
plus X.
Joseph, I don't know if, I don't know if you refuse to hear. I said build is composed of thousands of projects. It's really...
We're talking about yung mga flagship na
No,
sinasabi mo.
no, you didn't say flagship. You said build. And that's the problem. That's the problem, eh. Because you, and I've seen it come out in media several times, Joseph. In fact, I even saw news that build has been downsized from 8 trillion to 4 trillion. That's not true. Build is thousands of projects estimated at 8 trillion. The flagship program of 100 is 4 trillion. So half of the build is roughly the flagship program. I know it's probably kind of confusing, but that's just how it is. I just really, I just really don't like it when, things are misrepresented. And especially language is so important. That's why I have to keep on repeating myself here because, it's, I'm sure it's going to get printed in some other way later on. No, so I have to be very clear and unequivocal.
I guess it's a little defensive from your
No,
side.
it's not defensive. It's just because you insist on asking me questions that to me, at this point, are not relevant.
Sir, mag-entertain lang tayo ng ibang questions. Balikan natin siguro mamaya si Joseph. Skip muna si Pia, Jillian, pagkatapos si Badet.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, part of the projects under the part of the flagship projects also cover water po. How many water flagship projects are there, and how many of them are uh, specifically water supply projects, and how soon do we expect these projects to be finished?
Okay. Give me just a few seconds to look at it. I think there are about 5, if I'm not mistaken, water projects. And they're all water supply projects. No, right now they're all for Metro Manila because we're still looking at other projects, urgent water projects for other areas like Metro Cebu, which is experiencing also a major water problem. So, like for example, no, Kaliwa Dam, the very famous Kaliwa Dam, is a priority. It's a flagship project. Now, that will commence construction next year and should be completed by 2025. Takes time, no? Matagal to eh. Matagal magawa to. By the way, just some trivia on Kaliwa Dam. Kaliwa Dam was approved in 1967. 1967 na approve ang Kaliwa Dam, more than 50 years ago. And there hasn't been a major water supply project for Metro Manila after Angat. And that's why we're experiencing this problem here of water shortage. And we really have to rush these projects. So that's an example. Another one is Kanan Dam. So there's a Kaliwa, there's also a Kanan. There is also a Wawa Dam. That's in Rizal, but also to supply for Metro Manila. And others, sorry, I'm just looking at the list. Yeah.
Sir, which of these water supply projects could be finished the soonest, considering the the
There
plight
is
of
a
the water
project called Sumag. It's not a dam, but it's a pipeline in Quezon that will divert water from the Agus River Basin. You know, just to give you a background. No, sorry if I talk too much about these details because they're really important. There are a lot of rivers in Luzon that get wasted because all of the water just simply flows out to sea. We're not able to use that water, which just empties into the sea. And one of those river systems in the Sierra Madre is called the Agus River System. That's straddling the Sierra Madre, Quezon, Rizal. So we need, Kaliwa is there. Kaliwa Dam is there. Sumag is a pipe that was started, I think, in the past administration, but was, I think it encountered some technical problems, and there were some problems with the provincial government. And it was stopped. It was not completed. So now we want to complete that because that will be the quickest it could be finished in less than 12 months. So Sumag water supply project, no, in Quezon.
Okay na, Jillian.
Wait lang. Sir, you mentioned about potential. This is out of the 100. There is a potential water supply project in Visayas. Could you elaborate on that?
There is it.
Y-
Oh, yeah.
yes,
So we're looking at. They're not in the list yet.
Okay.
But like I said, this is an evolving list. Once we see that the projects are feasible and they are urgent, we add to them. So we're looking at also some water projects in the Visayas,
Mga
especially
ilan,
Cebu.
sir?
Sorry,
Mga ilan po?
I can't tell you yet.
Okay.
I'll get back to you. Pagka ano.
Sige, thank you, sir.
When there are more details.
Salamat, Jillian. Bernadette, pagkatapos kay Andrea.
Sir, may we know the breakdown of the list of flagship projects per mode of financing, per agency, and how many projects per category? As you said, we have 5 categories, sir, di ba po?
Yeah, okay. These are, no, sorry, I can't give you that specific breakdown now. About 70% are transport and mobility. The remaining 30% is more or less equally spread over power, water, ICT, urban development, and yun. So yung 5, no? Funding, like I said, one of the major initiatives that we've done is we've added several PPPs, and there are, I think, at least 26 or 28 PPP projects in this list. No, and they comprise airports. We just approved obviously the Bulacan Airport. This was already approved, already signed. That's a PPP unsolicited. The rehabilitation of NAIA, the Sangli Airport, the Bohol Airport, the first regional airport, that was approved by NEDA just last week, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have several ODA projects and also GAA projects. So ODA, you have funding from Japan, China, some from, mostly Japan and China. Yeah, but mostly Japan, actually. So we'll give you a breakdown. Can we send that to you? Para lang the specifics are there, plus the amounts. No? I just don't have the amounts with me here.
For PPP projects, sir, you said there are at least 26 or 28, sir.
Yeah, I think
diba?
28.
Oh, may we know the type of contract per PPP project under the flagship list?
What do you mean by type of contract?
The build, operate, transfer.
Okay, a lot of them for the airports are O&M contracts. So because, as you know, the policy of this government is the hybrid PPP model, where we build and then the private sector operates it. So a lot of except for Bulacan Airport, which is a full PPP unsolicited contract, no? Because that's a greenfield project. No? Wala pang airport kasi doon, so itatayo pa siya. So, so a lot of them are O&M contracts. Some of them are your typical BOT, build, operate, and transfer contracts. No, some of the railways are BOT. I will give you again a more detailed list. I just don't wanna give you all the details now until we submit this to Congress within the day. So we'll send you a whole table with the project, the location, the cost, funding source, and then the targeted completion time and the status.
May we know, sir, the total cost of the list of flagship projects?
Right now we're at roughly 4.2, 4.3 trillion.
4.2?
4.2, 4.3 trillion.
Okay. May we know the biggest project in the list, sir? I mean, in terms of the cost, sir.
Among the biggest are the Calamba to Clark Railway, which is a ODA from the Japanese. Let me, because it's broken, let me total it lang. Huh? So that's about 800 billion pesos. The railway from Calamba all the way to New Clark City under a JICA and ADB loan. The new Manila International Airport in Bulacan is also big. That's roughly more than 700 billion pesos. And the Mindanao Rail is also a major project. The phase 1 is about 100 billion pesos. Yeah, so those are just examples of these huge projects, and that is also ODA. So you see, there's a more rational mix. That's why I always emphasize that these lists are evolving. So it's pretty pointless to just keep on going back, and then the key to build is moving forward. No, we're moving forward, and that's the only way to go. If we keep on looking back, wala tayong magagawa dito.
Sorry, sir.
That's okay.
On those projects that were shelved, sir, at what stage of development were these projects shelved, sir?
Sorry.
On the shelved projects, sir, comparing
Wala pa. Study pa lang. Study pa lang. Oo.
all of
Study
those
pa lang.
projects that
Na hindi mo
were
na
shelved.
itutuloy, oo. Study pa lang yan.
Okay. So
Kasi
wala,
that's the first step. When you do a project, you do a feasibility study. You have to look at the cost. You have to look at the how you're going to finance it, what the interest rate is going to be, what technology is going to be used, who's going to finance it, and based on all of that, we have to make decisions. I think that's also a testament, by the way, to the Duterte government. That we're very honest. When we say, when we first announced itong gagawin, other governments would probably just keep quiet and not say na, oops, teka, di feasible eh. So, wag muna natin gawin. But I mean, it's just the way it is. If something is deemed infeasible, better not to build it than build it, right? Diba? It's better to maybe utilize funds for something that's feasible now and that's also equally, if not more urgent.
Sir, sorry, last two na lang. How much did the government spend for this feasibility study, sir?
That I can't tell you. It depends per project. That I really don't have that information.
Okay, sir. Last na lang, sir. What is the assurance that that the PPP projects will be continued by the next administration, sir?
You should ask the next administration. But having said that, no, but it's true. I mean, we can't assure that, right? I mean, there's no 100% assurance. But what we're trying to do now is build momentum. Why is it important to build momentum? Because momentum leads to continuity. Because if a project is not started, it's a lot easier not to do it and not to continue it, right? But if a project has already been started and there is significant progress in that project, it's a little bit more difficult. Believe me, there have been projects in the past that were started but discontinued. But it's a little bit more difficult to discontinue a project if there is already substantial progress. That is the goal. That is the goal. To really try to build momentum moving into 2022. But again, I have to repeat, we're not going to be able to finish all of these projects. I'm saying that on the record right now. These 100, not all of them are going to get finished.
Thank you, sir.
Salamat, Bernadette. MPC, okay ba sa inyo? Mag-last 3 questions na tayo. Andrea.
Sir, from the initial 11 that is under construction, the number now is 35. Can you give us an idea what changed?
Sorry?
From the initial 11 that is under construction, the number is 35 now, the one you presented. So what changed? Why did it triple? Bakit dadami yung...
Well, nadagdagan yung projects.
Okay.
Nadagdagan yung projects na linagay sa flagship list.
Okay.
Yun, that's the reason.
Okay. Tapos, sir, from the initial 8 PPP projects sa 75, naging 26 to 28.
Sorry, paulit?
Sa PPP, we're talking about PPP projects, sir.
Ganon din yan. It's the same, it's the same rationale.
Okay.
It's like, if you're running a business, you've got a 3-year plan. You look at that, you say you've listed a couple of projects that you want to do. You look at it you've got a 6-year plan and you're running a business, you've got several projects. You look at it after 3 years and you say, hey, this one, parang wag muna to. There are other things that we want to do. There are other urgent needs that we have now. There are PP projects that have been submitted that make sense, that address an urgent need. Let's do them. But this is just being really honest. No, it's just an honest to goodness dialogue with you and with the general public, with the Filipino people. And I'm not saying this list. This won't be. You ask me maybe 6 months from now, that probably won't be the same list.
Sir, but there was an initial hesitation regarding PPPs.
No, there was none.
Because it was always presented as slow. And yung 4-kilometer roads that took 4 years to complete during the Aquino administration, that was the face of the PPP.
But those were not hesitations; those were facts.
Okay,
that
so
being laid down, that in the experience of previous governments, PPPs took a long time to get approved. And second, they were riddled with very disadvantageous provisions that exposed future governments to potentially huge liabilities. We've seen it. We've seen it already. How much has the government paid in arbitration cases left and right because of provisions such as this. So the economic team led by Secretary Dominguez just laid down the new policy that PPPs must be, as Secretary Dominguez always says, PPPP, public-private sector partnerships for the people. And what does that mean? They are advantageous to government. They don't have these disadvantageous provisions, especially those that impose very stiff fees on the using public. And we are able to get the projects off the ground faster. And but now, as you can see, now that the economic team has addressed those concerns, now there are a lot more PPPs. That's, like you said, they've tripled, no more, yeah, or more than doubled.
Sir, I'm sorry. I know you said you refused to answer this question, but I think this is a pertinent question that must be asked because it was the government who chose these 75 projects initially, and
Yes.
then you ended up finishing only 2 in the span of 3 years. So what happened? We just want to know if the feasibility studies yielded that it's not feasible. It's fine, but we just the public deserves an explanation why this happened. So why did this happen?
Well, it happened because out of the first 75 that were initially approved by NEDA, that was the result. It's the result. Nobody is disputing that result. No, nobody's disputing it. But what we have also told you today very clearly is that several projects have already been completed. For example, I'll give you an example. No? Bohol Airport was not part of the 75. But to our mind, is that a flagship project? Yes, it is.
So did you choose the wrong projects to highlight because that wasn't
in
part
the
of
initial
Yeah.
75? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be the story tomorrow. But yes, we're being honest. That's why we have to revisit. Diba, we chose, for example, those bridges that are infeasible. But we are honest enough to tell everybody that, hey, it's not feasible pa eh. Diba, hindi pa siya feasible. So wag muna natin gawin.
Sir, what challenges do you see or
Marami.
did you encounter in the past? Did you see regarding this infrastructure push and how do you plan to address those?
Sorry, what challenges?
Challenges
Ala,
do you
ang
see? Like for
dami.
example, sa approval
Isang oras
process.
tayo dito.
Hindi sir, yung mga the main project, main problems. I mean, is it the approval? What slowed down the projects and how do you plan to?
You know, in the past, government approvals, have really been, wanting, to put it diplomatically. No, they've been wanting. And the president was the first one to call that out. Di ba? Di ba, lagi siyang nasabi, ang bagal-bagal ng ganyan, kaya ako nagagalit. Totoo yan eh, mabagal talaga. Mabagal talaga. Kaya nga we fought so hard to pass the anti-red tape and all these ease of doing business legislation. Because talagang, government, to a great extent, is so layered and so bureaucratic that it really takes a long time for these projects to get off the ground. So that is a major challenge. Now we're trying to address that. And I think, and I'll maybe ask NEDA to later on give you the statistics, I think compared to any government in the past, I think this administration has approved the most through NEDA. But again, are we gloating and are we patting ourselves on the back saying, great job? No, we're not. Because kulang pa rin eh. We still have to push more.
Sir, but
So-
the figures say 37 of the 75 were approved by the NEDA board. So that's just a little over half. So is that fast approval? What happened and what can be done in the future to fast
I
track?
will get my statistics very accurate. I will show you what previous governments have approved versus what we have approved. I won't say any numbers now, but I can tell you it's a lot more. Now, is that fast? My answer to that, no, it's not. It's not. It's still slow. We acknowledge that. It's still slow. We've got to do it faster. We've got to get these things done faster. So, ano talaga, mahirap. That's one major challenge. Other challenges, obviously the biggest challenge for infrastructure is right of way. That's the biggest challenge.
Salamat, Dreo.
Thank you, sir.
Okay ba yan?
Thank you, sir.
Sige.
MPC, last 2 questions. So last question na tayo kay... Hindi, si Bernadette muna. I-last question na natin si Miss Vance para...
Sir, clarification po.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yung 4.2 trillion, sir, tama po ba yung cost
Yes.
ng flagship?
That's the
sir?
estimated cost.
Estimated cost. For government side lang po ba yun, sir?
No. That's everything.
Ah,
that
that's
includes
everything.
the PPPs.
Okay.
Yeah, that includes
Okay.
the PPPs. That includes the Bulacan Airport of about 700 billion. That includes the Bohol Airport, the NAIA rehabilitation, includes the MRT-7. Yeah, includes PPPs. Remember, kaya, yun so, on funding, just to kind of clear this up. The priority of the government is to build the projects as fast as possible. Okay? That's the first order of business, to build. Now the government, once a project is identified, now the government has to look at it and say, okay, what's the fastest way to do this? Is it through the budget? Is it through borrowing from another country like Japan? Is it through borrowing from ADB? Or is it through a PPP? No? So government, the economic team has to grapple with all of those factors in order to come up with a decision, in order to move a project forward. But the most important thing is that we all agree that we have a list of projects that we need to build as fast as possible. No? And we've got to then balance it by looking for funding sources for it, whether from the private sector or from our own funds or from borrowing abroad. It's a very complex decision process, but we've just gotta do it faster, and we've gotta get these projects off the ground faster. And that's what this government is bent on doing.
Last na lang, sir, from me. Doon po sa mga list ng shelf projects, ilan po talaga yung number na shelf projects, sir?
I will check with NEDA. Sorry, I'll check.
Kahit ballpark figure na lang.
But alam ko, out of the 75, there were around 20 plus, no, that were not included in this 100 list. A lot of them were because of feasibility studies. Well, 2 of them, as you always point out, were not included anymore because they've already been completed. But the others, I'm not sure. I will have to get back to you. I will find out from the agencies. Because the agencies, the PWH, the OTR, and the other agencies, they make the call. They say that, okay, initially, this is a flagship project. After, maybe some challenges that were met, there's a project that's more urgent that we can start now. Let's put that. This is just a process that we have to go through, just like any organization. You have to go through a process of revisiting, of reassessment, and this is the result.
Sir, sorry, last na talaga. Aside from the bridges, sir, na shelved, from comparing the new list and the old list, sir, ano pa po yung pinaka-notable dun sa mga na-shelved na projects, sir?
I think there was a water project, no? I think another water project. Sorry, I don't wanna maingat kasi ako magsabi ng mga informasyon na hindi ako sigurado . So can we just get back to you? We'll get to NEDA and ask for that detailed list and then send it to the PCOO so that they can distribute it.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
Salamat,
you.
Badette. Last question ko na, Ms. Vance, para maganda yung katapusan natin.
Sir, just to yung pag-revise nung list, and coming up with a list of 100 rather, of flagship projects, was it a matter of reprioritizing? Kumbaga, did the new projects in the list
Partly,
come
yes.
from the bigger, as you mentioned, universe of projects
Partly, yes.
already existing
Partly,
in the
yes. Partly, yes.
8 trillion? Yun yung
Yes.
tama.
Partly, yes. And
Okay.
some were also new, like the
Yeah.
unsoliciteds that came in,
Okay.
which were not part of the original
Is
set.
that also the reason doon sa spike biglaan doon po sa ongoing construction? Kasi as of April nga, 11 lang yung ongoing construction, and then now,
Yes.
biglang
That's
because they were already being constructed but they were outside that
Yes.
list. Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
sir.
That's right.
Thank you, Ina. Last question from Van Hernandez.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Dizon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Nakakatakot po.
Yes. Earlier. Yes, sir. Mr. Dizon,
Yes, ma'am.
please pay attention.
I am.
Sir, you have earlier you have mentioned that it's not a failure, this build program. So kontento kayo sa performance?
Hindi po.
So you're not? It's just hindi po? No elaboration on that matter?
I don't know how to further elaborate on that, but let's just put it this way, ma'am. We disagree that it is a dismal failure. And the numbers, I think, speak for themselves. Infrastructure spending is up, way, way up. Double, in fact, more than double. And this has resulted in real gains in the economy. It's very clear. But yung sa tanong po na kontento po ba kayo, hindi po. Kaya nga po namin, kasi kung kontento po kami, wala na po kaming gagawing pagrepaso ng itong mga listahan na to. Hindi na, basta, bahala na lang kung ano na matapos. Kung kontento po ang Pangulo at ang kanyang team. Pero dahil nga po hindi kami kontento, nagkakaroon ng reassessment. Kumbaga sa retreat, parang inward, we want to see, we want to look in our hearts and see, are we doing enough? And we feel that we are not. No, we need to push some more. We need to get more projects off the ground. We need to build more momentum. And I think that is the clear differentiator of the president and his team. That we are willing to stand in front of the public and say, it's okay, but, we can do more and we should do more. So, yun lang po, ma'am, ang aking pag-elaborate.
Okay, sir. You have mentioned lahat ng mga infrastructure. Now, you have not mentioned what is the goal of this program. We know that this will be the Duterte legacy. Come a time.
I think the goal, the clear goal, and the president has articulated this several times, is to build infrastructure, to build, to make the lives of every Filipino better and more comfortable. That is the end goal. At the end of the day, this is not just about building an airport or building a port or building a bridge. It's to make the lives, especially the daily lives, yung pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay ng ating mga kababayan, mapabuti naman natin. So that is really the goal of infrastructure. And that's why it leads me again to answer your question, kontento ba ang gobyerno? Hindi po. Kasi ang dami pa rin naghihirap sa traffic. Ang dami pa rin pumipila sa MRT. Di ba? Nag-improve na naman, pero hindi pa rin dun sa gusto ng Pangulo na talagang parang first world na tayo. Wala pa tayo dun. But it will take time. Kaya nga po hindi kami kontento kasi yung time, dagdag na pahirap yun sa mga kababayan natin. And I think, our people have suffered enough and we really need to just keep on pushing this and just working, doing whatever we can to get these things built as fast as possible.
Maraming salamat.
So, sir, last
Yes,
na lang.
ma'am. Opo. Okay pa po.
To add more, kasi
No
parang
problem.
sinasabi nyo, I'm asking the goal. So, ang dagdag natin dito, sir, if I may,
Yes,
you'll not get mad.
No, ma'am.
Reduce poverty.
I'm
Yes.
sorry? Oh, yes.
Reduce, yes, poverty.
Definitely.
You did not mention.
Absolutely. Reduce poverty. Absolutely. That is a macro goal. Definitely to reduce poverty. There are goals to reduce poverty, improve our competitiveness, etc. But at the end of the day, as they say, no, we just want to make the lives of people better. And giving them higher incomes, having less people below the poverty line, that's also part of it. But yung yung talagang madali nating maintindihan, madali nating mag-grasp, talagang mapabuti lang natin ang buhay ng mga kababayan natin. I'm sure si Yusek Lorraine, paulit-ulit na. I think she was even one of the people who coined comfortable life for all. So,
Sir, just a short answer.
agree po ako.
Yes, just a short
Reduce
answer.
poverty.
How many % are not completed?
Okay. Can I just go back to that slide again?
Sir, okay, you just tell us
We-
later na lang.
So, we showed it kanina, no? Madami pa po. Napakadami. Yeah, out of the flagships, obviously, 100 of those are not yet completed. Di ba? Kasi yung mga completed, wala na sa list eh. Completed na yun eh.
Salamat, sir. Magbibigay naman ng
Thank you.
handouts mamaya. Maraming salamat po, BCDA President and CEO Vince Dizon.
Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat, Yusek Lorraine Badoy. Balik tayo sa PTV4, Radyo Pilipinas.
Si Lorraine, hindi na ako papadala.